Hey, what's up? So, my grandmother passed away a couple days ago, and I don't really know why, but it feels weird to me that so many of you guys know me, but you don't know a person who contributed largely to a big part of who I am today. And I'm not the best writer in the world, but a friend of mine told me I should journal about it and journal about how I was feeling. So, I'd just like to read you what I wrote. Just a disclaimer, this is going to be a longer video, and I understand that you may not want to stick around for it, and that's okay. I understand that this video is largely for me, but if you do want to stick around, this is my grandmother. My grandmother, Dieta Lumley, was born on December 18th, 1946 in Carrollton, Missouri, and was raised on a farm and went to school in Bogard, Missouri. On Thursday, March 12th, 2026, she died at the age of 79 years old at Carrollton Hospital in Carrollton, Missouri. Now, I know you may be thinking that 79 years old isn't that old for some people, but I think that negates how hard she actually worked just to get to that age, because if you had to sum up my grandmother in one word, that word would be work. My grandmother worked her whole life working on the farm as a kid, waiting tables, cleaning houses and offices, or running a meat locker with her late husband, Bob, and I think she probably liked that one the most. My grandmother worked so hard because it's just all she ever knew. She grew up in a household and a generation where work was just what you did, and she didn't think that she was ever above any kind of work. It didn't matter if it was scrubbing toilets or running a company, work was work. And to be truthful, she didn't think much of you if you didn't work. When I quit my job working on the road as a welder to do music full-time, she thought I was pretty crazy, and looking back at it, rightfully so. But she never could quite understand what it was that I did for work, so I think because she couldn't understand it, she thought I just didn't do it. But one day, a couple years ago, I was bringing her back from one of her various doctor's appointments, and she wanted me to stop at the grocery store to help her get some groceries. And when we were in that Aldi in Marshall, Missouri, a young boy approached me after we had checked out, and he asked me if I was Brian Andrews. And of course, I said yes, and he asked if we could take a picture, and so I did while my grandma waited. And on our walk back to the car, she didn't say anything, but when we got in, she said, "Brian, that was pretty cool." And I'd like to think in that moment, she finally understood what it was that I did with my work. My grandmother was tough, and I don't mean tough as in like when you see somebody beat somebody up, or like when you think of warriors in a battlefield and think, man, that person's tough. I mean tough as in tough like buckskin. When things would happen to her, she wouldn't fight back loudly and then stand over the top of it and say, "I beat you." She just endured it and took every fucking punch life had to throw, and then would have almost no reaction at all. She just kept working. I remember about 10 years ago going to see her in the hospital while she was getting some radiation treatments for her throat cancer, and I remember it looked like somebody had taken 80 grit sandpaper to her neck, and when I asked how she was doing that day, she didn't even look in my direction, and with no malice in her voice at all, she just said, "I'm all right," and that was it. I knew then that she was going to beat it, not because she had that never